NCAA basketball totals for Saturday, March 25th. We're in the Elite Eight. We're going to look at Xavier versus Gonzaga, the only play I have on the board today. We also have our NBA video out there. Usually we do an NBA live segment Sunday through Thursday, 5 o'clock Eastern. You got to tune into that. That one's a blast. A lot of guys, check that one out, and I comment back to you. And we can have, if you're checking out this video and you want to hear what I have to say about something you have to say, come into that live segment. We talk about NBA, we talk about NCAA. It's an NBA total segment, and which has been going pretty well over the last few weeks. We've picked it up since the middle of the year. This is our NCAA basketball segment, though. We're going to talk about the Xavier Gonzaga game. We're talking about the total on that, and I do have a spread play out there. I'll go ahead and mention that also a little bit later in the segment. Don't forget also, we got SBRpicks.com, a lot of free handicappers. Sportsbook review, our main web page. You got to check that out. It has all the sports books. We're looking at the sportsbook you wager for our totals today with this Xavier Gonzaga game. So our friends over at you wager are providing the line for us. And don't forget YouTube channel, Facebook page. You got to check all that stuff out. Okay, let's go ahead and let's break down this total. So we got Xavier versus Gonzaga. You wager right now has them at 145, and I'm going over this total. Now, we just got off a really bad slide. We had our underplay yesterday, which almost did not hit with Kentucky and UCLA. They put up a lot of points that second half. So I was very happy to hit that under. But we were like 0-5 coming into that. Just had a really, really bad week. I thought we had a couple tough breaks there, but that's just the way it goes. Sometimes we have some bad streaks on the year. We can't really complain, though, because we are hitting right now. And the great thing about working for a sportsbook review and the videos, you can just backtrack and check all my picks. I don't know if you really want to do that, though. It might take a while. But we are at 172 and 145. So it's hovering around 54% still. We want to get to 55% before the end of the year. I don't know if we're going to get there. I don't think there's enough games. But that's still okay. It's been a bad week. We still have a nice winning total on the year, and it's frustrating. I get frustrated too when I go on a bad streak, but we just got to keep grinding it out. Fortunately, if you checked out the NBA live segment, we've had some good picks. Just the totals in NCAA basketball particularly have been really poor. So I was really happy to hit that one yesterday. Let's see if we can get this one today with the over on Gonzaga and Xavier. So why do I like the over? Again, when we get to the tournament, I've had a little bit trouble handicapping the totals. I've been okay for the most part on the spreads. I had a really bad call the other day with Purdue, but I was really happy with South Carolina the other day, which I did mention in my NCAA video that I did like them. But Purdue was a really bad call I had the other day, as well as I had Baylor. Not Baylor. I had West Virginia versus Gonzaga. That didn't pan out. But then I also had Xavier to go ahead and win on the money line. If you check out my video, I did mention that if I'm going to take an underdog now, I'm going to take them on the money line. So that picked up the day. I was really happy. Thank you, Chris Mack, very much for making my day okay on the spreads. I don't really have a spread play on this. I do on the Oregon-Kansas game. I'll talk about that right at the end. But Xavier Gonzaga, I like over the total, and this is why I like over the total. Two well-coached teams. Mark Few, Chris Mack, excellent job this year. Gonzaga is averaging 83.2 points per game. That ranks 11th in the country. Xavier, 75.1. Not bad at all. I was really impressed with Xavier, how they just came back against Arizona, against a good Arizona defense. They put up over 70 points. But this is my philosophy for this game. You can break down the statistics all you want. And we can talk about the tempo, too. Xavier gets up 56.4 attempts per game. Gonzaga, 58.3. Ultimately, it's got to be about, not really a gut feeling, because these two teams have never seen each other. The last time they played, I think, was 2011. You got a Gonzaga team, statistically, great defensive statistics across the board, but that's out of the WCC. Very different than the Big East. They should win this game, though, because they're a really good team. They're long and they're athletic, and they could shut Xavier down. But this is my prediction. I think Chris Mack, who I really respect, is going to want to push tempo. The only way I think they have a shot at beating Gonzaga is if they get up and down the floor. The problem is Gonzaga doesn't have a problem with that because they got scorers. They move the ball really well. So I think it's going to get up and down. I think Xavier's going to try and get going with the athletes they have and not get down into – if they get down to a grind-out game like we saw with Gonzaga and West Virginia, I think that's a bad matchup for Xavier, and I think Mack knows that, so he's going to want to push some tempo here. At least that's how I see it. Another reason is that 145 seems high. And odds makers are pretty good about totals right now this time of year. So it seems a little bit high. So I'm going to go with them on this. I think they're right on this number, and we're going to see a high total, a high scoring affair. Defenses might not be prepared as well as they were, getting ready for the week prior to the matchup they knew they were going to have. Now there's kind of surprises. I bet Gonzaga thought, if we get past West Virginia, we're going to face Arizona. So, that's what March Madness is all about. Xavier's got some pretty rough statistics across the board defensively. I think Gonzaga is going to be able to score. Right now, they rank outside the top 300 teams, allowing opponents 52.7% on their two-point shots. Gonzaga thrives in that area. They're averaging 57 points, excuse me. Let me say that again. 57.6% on their two-point shots. They're ranked fourth in the country. Gonzaga is going to be able to score. Xavier, however, on the other side of the ball, they can score as well. I mean, they're shooting 46% from the floor, and they're shooting 52.3% on their two-point shots. I think they're going to get up and down. Tempo-wise, Gonzaga doesn't mind allowing tempo. They allow 61.1 attempts per game from opponents. Another thing is this. Mac, again, Mark Few is excellent, so is Mac, but I think Mac ultimately, if you look at Gonzaga, the times they had trouble this year, it's not when they got bogged down. They were able to thrive in those type of situations, like against St. Mary's, who they completely owned. But when they played BYU, the only game they lost, BYU pushed tempo, and the only game in the tournament which they had a little bit of trouble was against Northwestern. West Virginia game, a great game, was against Northwestern, where Northwestern was able to put up a lot of points. But West Virginia and Xavier are two completely different teams with two completely different dynamics. So I really believe they're going to try and push some tempo. Now, whether the shots drop, that's another story. So tempo-wise, I think they're going to get there. If we can get some decent shooting percentages with these teams shooting, close to the mid 40s percentage-wise, I think we're going to get there. So I'm going to take a shot here at over the total of 145. Tough one for me to break down. They're all tough to break down right now, but that's what makes it fun. So we have a good winning percentage on the year. We hopefully that game yesterday will give us some momentum into this one. It's going to be a great matchup. Now, as for my spread pick, let's go ahead and let's talk about that real quick, and then I'll go ahead and let you guys get out of here, and you can click off this video. Sounds like we're on a live segment right now. Okay, so the one game I do like, and you guys are not going to like me for this, and I'm sorry, is I like Oregon plus the points. UWager right now has them at +7, and I like Oregon plus the points, and this is why. Now, I had Purdue, and I was way off, but Kansas shot lights out that second half, and what I did a very bad job of handicapping that game, hindsight's 20/20. I thought Purdue came out and they scored, but the problem is they couldn't score with Kansas. And Matt Painter has not done a really good job defensively this year. I thought Purdue was going to, be able to score points against Kansas, but Kansas just ran them off the floor. Now, Oregon plays defense. That's a good defensive team, although they are missing one of their better players. I think they're going to beat Kansas. I think Oregon also is more athletic than Purdue. I think they're going to be able to contain Kansas just a little bit more, stop their transition, try to grind them out a little bit, and stay within this number. Can they beat Kansas? I don't know. Kansas is so multifaceted. Bill Self is one of my favorite coaches. He is excellent. It's just going to be a fantastic ball game. I think Oregon stays within the number, so that would be my one spread pick as far as this matchup right here. So Oregon plus the 7. Again, let's recap that. We got the totals. Of course, that's our segment. That's what it's all about. Over with Xavier and Gonzaga, the 145, and Oregon plus the points is my other play. And if Kansas rolls Oregon, look out. The Jayhawks will most likely win this tournament. That's a really good team they have. But I'm going to go ahead and take a shot here with Oregon to keep it interesting. That's my opinion. Maybe you have a different one. Come into that NBA Live segment and let me know. All right, you guys. Hey, I wish you guys the best of luck on your picks today, and enjoy all the games for March Madness.
We hope you enjoyed the video. Hey, don't miss out on the best basketball betting content available on YouTube. Click our logo button on the bottom left to subscribe. And as always, guys, give us a like and drop your comments below because we want to hear from you. Visit our website to take advantage of all our free products.